Welcome in to Mazio's here in Blanchard. It's 6 o'clock. It's the Blanchard Coaches Show. I think we're at that point in the season now where you kind of look forward to it. And you know what time it is, and it is the Blanchard Coaches Show. It is 6 p.m. here on Tuesday, September 26th, the last Coaches Show of September, the first complete month in the books for this Blanchard Lions squad, Coach. And heading in, or talking a little bit about last week, pretty resounding victory versus a better Harris squad than what we saw last year. Obviously, Blanchard took that win 46-13. Like always, how are you so far?
Yeah.
Are you good?
Good.
Yeah, good week
good.
so far. Interesting week so far.
Always good to come in after W's and talk about them. And so, it was a good weekend. And so off to a good start this week.
Obviously, you guys had film session on Sunday. Probably got to break down a little bit more of the game on Friday. What were some of the general takeaways from that Harry game?
Well, I thought we played defensively. I thought we played better at times. We still have some issues, some tackling issues, and some things like that. But I thought we were in the right place most of the time. I felt like we could have taken advantage of a couple other things with our play and some of the fundamental things that we still need to fix, that we still need to do. Some of the things where we may be taking something on with the wrong shoulder. Yeah. I need to take it on with my inside shoulder, and I'm kind of taking it on with my outside shoulder. So, and it's a little thing, but all of a sudden, a guy gets outside of us, and they had a few big plays on us, for things like that. Whether we're not, we overrun it just a little bit, or we're committing that outside shoulder and trying to contain, and we're having issues with that. So. Just little things like that we've got to polish up and fine-tune.
One of the things that we mentioned on the broadcast was, I think for the most part, those Blanchard boys were getting home on a lot of those defensive plays. I think they were just not completing that last 5%, making that tackle, keeping that edge.
Yeah, just like right off the bat, in their third play. We've got them in a long yard situation. We make the perfect call. Right. And we get Gage off the edge, and he's got a shot on the quarterback to sack the quarterback.
Yes.
And and then they punt, and he misses.
Right.
And then Corrick's there, the next one to get him and grab him, and he can't get him down. And then next thing you know, he breaks contain, gets out, throws a short pass to a guy. We miss another tackle on that, and then he kind of runs through our corner on the next deal, and they get a first down. And then they change field position on that deal, and we're getting ready to get a big defensive stop right there, get the ball in great field position, have a chance to go score early, and it's just those things like that are things that just kind of make you have nightmares, because that's can be a big swing in a game, right? With plays like that, but we dropped some balls on offense, and we missed some throws, and we didn't look real sharp. I mean, we still did some good things, but we just weren't sharp early, and fixed that and came around.
One of the things that we noted on the broadcast was, outside of that Noble game, the opponents have always been the first to score. Is that something that you've taken notice to, or something that you've addressed with the team, or is that
we haven't really.
No.
We haven't really gotten there. I remember, several years ago when I was at East Central, it was the weirdest thing. It seemed like the other team would go down and immediately score. Right. And then we would tweak some things, adjust some things, and then basically shut them out the rest of the night. Yeah. So you don't get too nervous about that, But when it's in your plan to start fast, right? And you don't start fast, then you address that. So that's something we address. It's something we've been addressing, and we just can't. You can't keep kind of going through the motions. Early, and then one of these games, all of a sudden we're going to find some hole that we're in, and we may not be able to get out of. So we've got to do a little bit better job of coming out, gangbusters early.
I mean, it's easy to say something like that, but on the flip side, you can easily just say, we find ourselves in a little bit of a hole early, but at the same time, we're really, really good at responding, going down.
And the bottom line is, it's where you finish.
Right.
Absolutely. It comes down to finish, and we finished well.
Yeah.
Even though we haven't started well, we finished well, and that's a plus. I mean, I'd rather do that than finish poorly. So finishing good on a good note's that, you know, and it's just really kind of getting our focus and getting locked in on that. And sometimes that's frustrating as a coach. You know, it's not anything other than just a lack of focus.
Right.
And it's like if we get locked in and we get focused, then we'll take care of that and we'll solve those problems.
So this may be me being ignorant and me just not knowing much about the high school system, but, you know, in the college scene, there's so much talk about the scripted first drives for offense. Is that something that appears in high school? Is that like the best punch that you can give a team to start out?
Some people live that way. There's some that are going to draw a script, and they're going to have a script of 10 or 20 plays or 10 opening plays. Some people like to do that.
Yeah.
I think I do think it's a little easier in college than it is in high school. You can do it in high school. I mean, a lot of people do it. A lot of people script them. I'm not one of those guys.
Yeah.
I'm not a script guy.
More of a touch and feel kind of thing.
Yeah, I kind of like our system. I kind of like the way we do things.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of pieces that we teach. We teach pieces, and then we put them together, and we can put them together in a lot of different ways.
You don't know the order.
Yeah. So you know, and I think you'll see a couple things on film. And a couple things and a couple plays that happened against Hera that I think that did take advantage of those things, and that were things we hadn't done.
Yeah,
it's things we do.
Yeah,
and there's pieces, and we just juggled them a little bit different.
Right. Yeah. So let's get to some of those highlights. We'll start with this first one here. Obviously, you know, scoring 46. There's going to be probably a lot here on the offensive side that we see.
Yeah, we got a few more offensive highlights on this, but we did mix in a few on that. But when you score, 7 times, you're going to have to get a few highlights in there on that. This was early. We'd just kind of gone through the play before with Brayson, and we just missed him. And then we came right back to it, and we went to the other side with it. That's Carson's choice. And he gets to pick, and he liked Hudson's side. Yeah. And we're just trying to get a vertical push, and we're trying to squeeze in between that low side backer and the high safety, and we get in between them right there.
Really good timing,
too. Threaded the needle on that. It was pretty slim pickings right there, and the safety bit on that, tried to make a play on it, missed it. Obviously, Hud got it to take it to the house for a touchdown.
All right.
For our first lead of the game.
Okay.
Defensive plays right here. They came out. I thought, boy, we did such a great job, I thought, on this. And, credit to Tyler and them that, they really shut down a lot of their short game right there. And as you notice, we really kind of bid on that. But one thing we've been stressing, and Caleb Greenwood did a great job on this on the outside rush, is our contained rush. And our secondary guys did a great job here of picking those routes up, and then Caleb coming off the edge gets to the depth of the quarterback, spins back in, and gets to the quarterback, makes a sack. Something we haven't been very good at, all year, and it was refreshing to see somebody finally get an edge rush, get upfield, and get the quarterback contained, fall back in, and make a play.
Yeah. Okay. Click through. Moving on. Another.
I keep forgetting what we've got going
That's
on
all
this
right.
one, but this was a quick little sprint out on a 3rd and long, and a quick throw to Corrick in the flats. Makes a great move right there, and he gets down the field, and you see some great blocking by Brayson. Downfield, Brayson's got his guys engaged. Corrick makes a guy miss. We turn it, turn 10-yard route into about a 30-yard gain right there. So, move the chains in another first down. So
seems like Todd and I are probably calling, some of those skill position guys 3 or 4 times just from creating plays in space.
Yeah,
they're really good at that.
Done such a good job with the ball after the catch, on that thing.
All right.
And so that set up our second score. We get the ball down there. We've moved in a little bit closer in and we're going to get this ball in the end zone on a little – this is kind of a wrinkle that we've run, and we usually run Brayson, but this time we fake it to him, and we run a little naked boot there. And typically, Hud's been in the flat, and they jump him in the flat, and we got the opportunity to throw it to him, and then you got Matthew working underneath and working that void, that gap in there. And you'll notice there's a guy out in the flat. It's kind of flat area with Hudson out there, and he's trying to decide whether to go cover Hud or stay inside, and he starts to go cover Hud, and then just a great job right there by Carson a real quick release, getting the ball out of his hands right there and hitting Matthew, and he finishes off with a touchdown for a second touchdown of the game.
All right.
Then coming back with another big defensive play. They tried to, they tried to get to the edge with their sprint game. We kind of had that figured out, and then so we've got something set up here, but they're going to come to the outside, and Blake Woods just does a great job. That's typical sprint out formation for them, but then they change that formation. So, we're recognizing that as their outside zone play. They're trying to get outside, and Blake does a good job of really dipping under and then climbing. Mm-hmm. He kind of dips underneath that lineman, and then he'll climb vertical. He gets vertical and makes a move towards the running back, and and climbs up before he can get hit, and makes a great play right there for a big loss. So big defensive play there.
Oh, maybe. If I'm adequate. There we go.
There we go.
Clip 6.
Coming back with another touchdown here. Just a good job of, good job. We throw a lot of that, RPO pass stuff. You see Bryson works underneath on that RPO. This time we fake that underneath route, and then we stick it and get vertical. For a deep route, Carson does a good job of standing in there and holding it, but you'll see Bryson work the underneath, and that safety's been coming down, and he does, and then we pop it on him and go vertical. And he almost did a great job of getting back in on that. I thought he did. Defensive back did a great job of trying to rally back to it, but Bryson made another great throw by Carson, another great catch by Bryson.
Bryson dropped a couple earlier.
Kind of redeeming himself.
Very
early.
much of a redemption arc for him.
Yeah, he was very disappointed. He dropped a touchdown pass on our first series, and then dropped an interception and dropped a punt. And boy, he was fit to be tied, but he came back and redeemed himself like he always does.
Okay, next up.
I get my editing skills down. This is one of those little wrinkle we put in on a screen back to the single side. We've been running to multi-side, and everybody's really been flying with that motion. We run Bryson across their motion, man. Everybody's flying over there because we do so much stuff over there. Mm-hmm. That we felt like it was time for the wrinkle of putting in our screenplay back on the backside, and you see, Braden Heffernan and Trey, Woodsy and Trey get out in front. Good clip. We don't get Hef doesn't get a great block there, but he forces the corner to go around, and that allows Cork to get back up inside.
Is that play designed for him to go?
It's designed for him to go back inside and come back underneath those linemen. You see those linemen release downfield. He'll come back underneath them and try to create a little, a lot of people call it tunnel screen, try to get in a little tunnel there and get going.
All right, clip 8.
But this will be, and then we set that up. This comes off of that, after that screenplay that we set up, and then we get a little inside zone play with Vaughn McIntyre on a play. See our guys do a great job. We kind of see a blitz. We're going to kind of run our blocking scheme at that blitz. And then we're going to get a cutback right there by Vaughn, and does a good job getting in the backside, finding a little crease, runs through a couple tackles, and gets in the end zone.
McIntyre and Howell are a really pretty solid team.
Yeah, they've
so
given
far
us given us some good, some good time and some good minutes in there. Both of them kind of, and so they stay pretty fresh because we're not really overdoing it with either one of them.
Yeah. Clip 9. Here we go.
Another defensive play. This was a pass formation for him, and Bryson does a good job of jumping that guy. He's got good speed and he runs well. We're in pretty good shape right there, and that ball's just slightly underthrown. It's a long throw, and it's just a little bit off, and that allows Bryson to undercut it right there, and we get a big interception. And that was one or two plays in on their series after we scored. So it was a quick turnaround. We were able to go down there and get it in the end zone again. So big interception by Bryson.
Yeah. Number 10.
This should be our follow-up touchdown after the interception. A few plays after that interception that Bryson set us up on. And, they're running a guy on late, but we get our check of what we want to run right here, and it's just a little midline play, and we're reading their nose. We're reading their nose and trying to run one guy one side of him, and Carson does a great job reading this. Does a great job of riding it, and you'll see the back come across, and you'll see the nose guard. We don't block the nose guard. We block everybody else. Mm-hmm. We read the nose guard. He tackles the running back, and then Carson pulls it and just splits it. We do a good job blocking it up front, getting everybody sealed, but nose blocks it, takes the running back, and Carson replaces it with a pull, and it creates
the gap.
Great seam right there, and he gets it up the field for a touchdown right there. Something we hadn't been doing, and we put in, one specific front they had. We ran that too.
Yeah. Clip 11.
This is I was happy for Rio. Rio's in at corner and been doing a good job for us at corner. We're trying to get him more time. He's coming off that injury and get him in right there, and he's in pretty good shape right there. Ball's a little bit underthrown, but he stayed underneath because it's a good thing about Rio. He was played on the quarterback side, so he's familiar with that. And reading it from the other side, did a great job reading the eyes of the quarterback right there. Finds the ball, sees the ball on a little play action, stays within the realm of where he's supposed to be with that receiver, and he kind of stays on top. But he sees the ball, and that's why he comes off the guy. And so it's a good job on his part of seeing that. Happy for him to get him a pick for us right there. It was a big play.
Okay, clip 11A.
This they had scored on a long pass play on us, and then they were kicking off, and they'd kind of been pooching it and doing that, and then they decided with the wind behind them they were going to try to bang it deep, and they kicked it to Brayson, and probably not a good idea. But we had some great blocking up front, and he did a great job of just shooting the gap right there, and then the rest of it's just a foot race to the end zone, and that any hope or any thoughts they had of coming back were pretty quickly dashed
relinquished
right there by Brayson on that play on that. And then come up with our last touchdown play right here. They'd been kind of selling out. We're trying to run the clock out, but we've got a 3rd and long situation, and they've really been playing to run hard and really been down, and so we just we're reading that, and then we come up and they're going to jump under it, and we sneak back. Sometimes we'll sneak the inside guy, and sometimes we'll sneak the outside guy. And that
good
was
catch too.
Snuck the outside guy, great throw, good, great catch, and then catch and run.
Yeah.
On Corrick's part. So big touchdown right there. So kind of sealed that victory off for us.
Yeah. Lions obviously start 1-0 in district play. This has been our first segment here at Mazio's, the Blanchard Coaches Show. It's currently 6:18. I'm going to be talking to the superintendent here coming up. But who do you have for me player-wise tonight?
We'll go to Caleb Greenwood, who had the big sack on the play, and then we'll get a little bit of beef in here. We'll get a little Ben Hefner in here.
All right,
let him show with you.
It's going to be a jam-packed show. We're already 20 minutes in, and we're getting into our second segment here. Obviously, big shout out to Mazio's for being our host every week this week for this entire year. We really appreciate it. It's currently 6:18 here. I am going to have the honor of interviewing Brady Barnes, Blanchard superintendent. Got a pretty important bond coming up.
Yes,
and maybe give me some more school-related updates. So
there we go.
Stay tuned. Got a couple minutes here in the break, and then we'll be back with the Blanchard superintendent right after this.
Support your school's booster club and get your business in front of thousands of potential customers. Talk about a win-win. Advertising packages start on this streaming station for less than $10 a game. Call 405-726-0835 or email adam@squirtle.com right now for more information.
For more than 100 years, Oklahoma Career Tech has been training skilled and dedicated individuals, giving clear career paths to over 90,000 graduates a year. These individuals are the heartbeat of the Oklahoma workforce, serving thousands of companies, fueling this state's economy. Oklahoma is powered by Career Tech.
Is it time for your school or business to purchase a new phone system? Give the experts at Versatile Networks a call. In most cases, we can provide a phone system with brand new phones for less than your current monthly bill. Call us for a free quote today.
Welcome back to the Blanchard Coaches Show here at Mazio's. It is currently 6:20 p.m. Getting kicked into gear here for our second segment of the show, and maybe the most important, most important interview I'm going to do all year. Mr. Brady Barnes, your Blanchard superintendent. Brady, have you had some of the pizza yet? Have you had a good day so far? How's your week been?
Okay, there was 3 questions right there, so let me break these down here.
Yeah.
Day was a great day at school. A lot of good things going on. Great weekend. I have not had any pizza yet today, so I need to get on that.
I follow in that regard.
We need to hurry this up, so I
That's
can go
right.
eat.
That's right. Well, we got a pretty important thing to talk about here. So I don't know how quickly we're going to get out of this because I'm new to this. This bond that I've seen the details of is a completely new subject to me. Obviously, being from Blanchard, it's something that I hold a little bit near and dear to the heart. As opposed to maybe someone who is not from here.
You bet.
So talking about this bond, the last day to register to vote was September 15th.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone that can vote on this, is this the vote on October 10th? Is that the correct date?
That is correct.
Okay, so I kind of want to come at this from a broad sense. How did this bond come about? Why did it come about? Was this something that arose from the community? Was it something that arose internally? Where did the startings of this bond come from?
Great question, Drake. I think a lot of it's been a part of a 5 or 10 year plan of the board.
Yeah.
And it started with moving the football field over to the current high school property. There was a lot of foresight throughout the years to purchase additional land to ensure that we could move everything over there throughout the years.
Yeah.
We assembled a bond committee about a year ago, and put the charge out to them to go to the public and see what the public would support.
Yeah.
We have surveyed the community, and we used that data to drive what the package we put together to put out to the community. Things that were important that came up, you do a needs assessment. What do you need?
Right.
Well, our high school needs classrooms. And I've told this to many people, but 10 years ago there were 480 kids at Blanchard High School, and today there are 780. So they built that school 13 years ago, and the size of the school's almost doubled.
Right.
And we've got 2 classrooms in our library right now, which is not conducive learning for either the library or those classrooms.
Yeah.
We would hire an additional science and English teacher today if we had the classrooms for them. We got big classes in science and English right now. That's part of it, 8 classrooms. There's no safe room today at the high school.
Right.
And that was important to the community when we surveyed them. Safety was a big deal. And so we're going to build a safe room over there, but we're also going to encompass that with an auxiliary gym.
I see.
To give those. We got a lot of activities over there in one gym. Our kids are going everywhere around town to go practice. They're going to the middle school gym, the Max Starry gym to go practice. So all of this it's geared for safety. It's also geared to keep all of our kids at the current high school property right now.
I see.
So there's classrooms, there's a field house, and I've talked about opportunities we provide to kids. The field house would allow us to start an athletic training program. We have no classrooms for that right now. We don't really have a really state-of-the-art athletic training facility for our kids, so that would do that. It would allow us to add additional activities for our kids. We're growing. We need to give kids more opportunities to participate in extracurricular activities, soccer being one of them.
Okay.
And so to give us the opportunity to do that, relocate baseball, softball to the current facility.
Yeah.
It's got there's a lot of technology needs we need to address with our district. It addresses a lot of those. It addresses safety, entry access points to buildings. Big deal with schools these days. Uvalde happened because the door was left open.
Really?
Yeah, and so that's we study best practices with other communities and schools and what they do. It also addresses transportation needs, our buses, small vehicles to transport students.
Okay. Well, I was literally just about to ask you, what are some high points of the bond that's coming out? But you pretty much got it. You're an oversharer. That's good.
Yeah.
That's what a good.
I need to read
superintendent,
your
a good
questions
teacher
there.
is.
Maybe I can help you out here.
Right. So, like I said, some of this information may be completely unknown to the greater population of Blanchard. For people that are interested, what are some frequently asked questions when it comes to these bonds that you maybe get from the community?
Good question. One of the survey questions we put out is taxes. We can structure this, several different ways. If we keep your tax rate the same, would you support a bond issue? And the feedback came back, 90% said yes or maybe we would support the bond issue, maybe being what was on there. And so we felt the need, the bond committee, the board, let's keep our tax rate neutral.
Yeah.
For our patrons. And it doesn't mean the value of your home goes up, your taxes are going to go up, but the value of your home goes up, that's a good thing. You got more equity in your home. So that's been a frequently asked question to answer your question.
Yeah.
What's this going to do to my tax rate? So we structured this. It goes out a little bit longer on the payback, but we structured to be tax neutral. And here's the good thing about it. We are growing significantly day to day here.
Yeah.
25, 27 years ago, the valuation of Blanchard was around $10 million.
Yeah.
Today it's $104 million. And, why is that good? Because the tax burden gets spread out among the taxpayers more evenly.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, that's been the biggest question. Mr. Barnes, what are we doing to address safety? And I answered a couple of those for you, right there, getting everything at the high school so kids aren't traveling everywhere to go practice.
Yeah.
Locking up some exterior doors for our district.
Okay.
Those are some of the big questions.
Okay. So I don't want to put the cart before the horse here, but let's just say this passes in October. Is there a timetable for the completion of everything stated in that bond, or even a starting point?
You bet. There's really not. People say construction projects take 18 months. And for the most part, in my career, that's been true. We're building a performing arts center right now, and we've had some setbacks throughout that. Nothing big, but we just want to make sure and do our due diligence, make sure things are done right. And that one's taken a little bit longer than 18 months. But just some foresight, the classrooms, boy, that would be great.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way you could have that done before the next fiscal year or the next school year.
Right.
But that would be a goal. I just don't think that could be accomplished. Baseball, softball complex, maybe you get it completed by the spring of 25.
Yeah.
So baseball can start over there. Field house, 18 months. So when you talk construction projects, you talk 18 months. But some of the other things, transportation will happen right away. We'll
Right.
get those dollars. We'll start upgrading our fleet. The safety aspect, we'll start looking at that. So those are probably the first things we address because we can get those done in a timely manner.
I see. Okay. So in our little show prep, Coach Craig said you might have some other school-related updates that you would like to share besides this bond.
You bet. It's been a great start to our year. I'll talk about the fall extracurricular activities a little bit. Cross country, they were both in the top 10 a couple of weeks ago, boys and girls. They're doing a great job. I know your brother runs out there.
Yeah.
So those kids are doing a great job. Band got the highest rating or place they've ever gotten the more band competition last week. And I make it a point to go up top. It's not a crow's nest, but on top of the press box, and I go watch them every Friday night. And Mrs. Kaufman, they do a great job with our band. Softball get to host regionals, new playoff format this year for softball and baseball. Instead of doing a district and regional, they have a regional and a super regional, kind of like college baseball and softball.
Right.
So it's neat, but
it's fun.
We're getting to host the first regional of that. Coach Stringer does a great job with those kids, and I just left volleyball just a second ago, and those kids are having a great year too. But you don't forget about the education part of it too. And one thing we've incorporated in our classrooms is we benchmark our kids with ACT standards. So we've begun doing that, and we're starting to look at that data. We do it in September, do it in March. We let that data drive what we do in the classroom to help kids and help teachers, give the kids what they need to be successful in the classroom and be successful later on in the ACT. Yeah. So we don't forget that stuff either.
Absolutely. We're talking to Brady Barnes here at the Blanchard Coaches Show, the Blanchard Superintendent. Before we let you go here, sir, is there anything else you'd like to add? A couple of people watching, obviously. The Coaches Show gets some pretty good traction on our website. Before I leave you, is there anything that I missed or anything you'd like to add?
No, I appreciate you guys doing this with our football team.
Support your school's
Every Tuesday night with all the kids they get here and parents. And
We appreciate Mazio's, that's for sure. They take good care of us here for the Coaches Show. That was Brady Barnes, the Blanchard Superintendent. My name is Drake Vidito. It is currently 6:30 p.m., wrapping up the second segment here at the Coaches Show. Coming up next, we're going to be talking to Caleb Greenwood, the senior defensive end tackle for the Lions football team. You are listening to the Blanchard Lions Coaches Show here on Blanchard Lions TV.
Booster Club and get your business in front of thousands of potential customers. Talk about a win-win. Advertising packages start on this streaming station for less than $10 a game. Call 405-726-0835 or email adam@squirtle.com right now for more information.
For more than 100 years, Oklahoma Career Tech has been training skilled and dedicated individuals, giving clear career paths to over 90,000 graduates a year. These individuals are the heartbeat of the Oklahoma workforce, serving thousands of companies, fueling this state's economy. Oklahoma is powered by Career Tech.
Is it time for your school or business to purchase a new phone system? Give the experts at Versatile Networks a call. In most cases, we can provide a phone system with brand new phones for less.
Welcome back to the Blanchard Coaches Show here at Mazio's. It is the last Coaches Show of September. Just had a really, really good conversation with Brady Barnes, the Blanchard Superintendent, about the upcoming bond. Future looks bright for a lot of different aspects of the Blanchard school district and the Blanchard community. Really excited to talk to him about that stuff. But now we circle back around to football. I am here with Caleb Greenwood, senior defensive end on the defensive side of the ball, and tackle on the offensive side of the ball. First things first, Mr. Greenwood, how are you today, sir? How's your week been?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm glad you could make it. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, let's get started here. I'm gonna start easy on you, and then the questions will get harder, okay? Think of it like a test almost. Okay? All right, here we go. Obviously, you play both sides of the line, O-line and D-line. I've had a couple already who have played both O-line and D-line, and they've given me some certain answers, so I'm just going to see if these answers match up with the answers that you give me, okay? You obviously play O-line and D-line.
Yeah.
Which do you like more, and why?
I like D-line more because you can just go play.
Yeah?
It's way easier.
So a lot of people say D-line is you're basically most of the time just chasing after whoever has the ball.
Yeah.
Would that be correct, or is there a little bit more to it?
There's a little more discipline to it than that.
Yeah?
I mean, we always have a job to do. Even, like, if your backside and the ball's all the way away from you, you still got something to do. Like going straight down the line of scrimmage, make sure ball doesn't come back for cutback, and score on your side.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. You like D-line more, but which one would you say is harder? Which one is harder to grasp, D-line or O-line?
Harder to grasp. Personally, for me, I would say O-line.
Okay. Why is that?
Because I'm not as big as the other guys.
Okay.
So I have to kind of compensate with speed.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think other people would say probably O-line too, because it's very fundamental.
It's funny you say that because Blake is the other person that I've interviewed that have played both O and D line, and he had the exact same answers as you. So that's interesting. Okay. Was this a position that you played all your life? Since, youth, middle school, up to high school? Like, have you been switched around very much, or has the lines been kind of your bread and butter?
So, Little League, I played mostly D-line, defensive end like I am now.
Yeah.
But in middle school, I actually started wide receiver both years.
I see.
And played that, and then switched back.
Started freshman year?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've been at it for a couple. I mean, you know your way around the block.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously you're a senior, okay? There's a lot of people under you, a lot of underclassmen. How do you really compare your senior year to freshman year when it comes to, like, what you've learned as a whole? What have been your biggest lessons from football starting in freshman year to now as a senior?
So the biggest thing is probably the commitment to yourself and the team. and definitely trying to like better yourself so other people will better themselves with you.
Yeah.
And so it's more what's good for the team is good for everybody.
Right. And
Yeah.
obviously you're a senior.
Yeah.
And so you probably have a couple of underclassmen that I wouldn't say you're assigned to, but
Yeah.
just a couple of underclassmen that probably look up to you in that process, right?
Yeah.
What are some big keys of advice that you've given them this season? Obviously, this is your last season. You're not going to be here next year. What is some advice you've been giving to those underclassmen that you've overseen?
The biggest battle is just in your mind, really.
Yeah.
Like once you overcome that, it's really easy to just go out there and play
Right.
and have fun.
Okay. How did you feel about Herod this week, both on the offense and defensive side? Obviously, you guys put up a lot of points. On the offensive side, that to me reads, hey, I think the O-line did an okay job protecting the quarterback, did a really good job of, asserting themselves on the line of scrimmage for the run game. How do you think you did O-line-wise, just as a whole, against Hera?
So O-line wise, I thought we did really well, especially on our passing blocking.
Yeah.
Quarterback had a bunch of time, multiple times, and I didn't play that game on O-line personally, so I think those guys just did a really good job that night.
How about the defensive side?
Defensive side, I think we did pretty good.
Yeah.
We came away with 2 sacks that night.
Okay.
And so,
Okay.
yeah.
Tell me about Newcastle this week. Obviously, it's a rival game.
Yeah.
First off, as a senior, do you treat this game like any other game, even though it is Newcastle? I know maybe the internal competitive juices are going to be flowing a little bit more just because it's a rivalry game. But how do you approach, rivalry week in general? Starting with practice, going into the game.
So I see it as any other game, really.
Yeah.
I just got to do my job and trust the guys next to me to do theirs.
Yeah.
And that's basically it.
Okay. So, obviously, Newcastle is, I believe, undefeated coming into this year, or this game, that is. What are some things that we should expect, the fans should expect from their offense and defense?
So I think they're probably going to be a pretty run-heavy team.
Okay.
And so they have a couple of pretty good guys up front that we need to watch out for.
Yeah.
And their defense, I mean, it's nothing we haven't seen before. It's a 4-man front. We're 4-2. And I think we should be able to get the job done.
Okay. Interesting. Well, now, Caleb, I have the utmost honor to present to you probably the people's favorite segment of all time. It's something I've been doing with all the linemen. We call it the Lineman Chow of Choice, okay? I've been presenting different scenarios to our linemen. It could be something as simple as me saying, I picked 2 foods and you pick your favorite. We're doing a little bit different this time.
Okay.
Let's pretend you have a catering company, okay? Caleb's Catering Company. Really simple, really easy, gets the job done, okay? Let's say that you are catering food for both offensive, defensive linemen, your teammates, the coaches, the quarterback, and the running backs, okay? You have to cater food to all these people. Based on what you know about all those groups, what restaurant are you choosing to cater from and why? I know you got to think here. This is a lot of different groups, Caleb. I mean, the lineman may have their favorite, but what if the quarterback and the running back doesn't like what the lineman chooses? How are you going to stack those thoughts together? It's a big job for you, but I believe you can do it.
I think I'd probably pick a pretty good barbecue place. I don't know the exact name of it.
No, you don't have like a favorite barbecue place out there?
I don't go to a lot.
No.
So
we'll just say KT's. How about that? Okay, but why barbecue? Do you think that's easy, or do you think like everyone probably likes barbecue? Like,
I'm pretty sure.
Barbecue?
I'm pretty sure everybody likes barbecue.
Okay. Okay. I respect it. I do. Caleb, you've been a great interview, my friend. But before I let you go, I got to ask: do you have any score predictions for this Friday? Do you want to predict a score or not? I'll let you do it. It can be up to you. You can be bashful, or you can come out with some chutzpah and say that score you think that's going to happen.
I don't think I will. I'm gonna stay humble.
We're gonna let the play talk on Friday.
Yeah.
I like that, Caleb. Thank you, brother.
Thanks for
appreciate
having
you.
me.
That was Caleb Greenwood. He is the senior defensive end and tackle for the Blanchard Lions squad. It's 6:39. We're already halfway through this puppy. We're just going through. That was Caleb. Next up, I believe we have Ben Hefner, the senior linebacker So we started with some beef, and we're going to end with some beef. So my name is Drake Benito. That is Caleb Greenwood. It is 6:40. After this short break, we will be back with Ben Hefner.
Support your school's booster club and get your business in front of thousands of potential customers. Talk about a win-win. Advertising packages start on this streaming station for less than $10 a game. Call 405-726-0835 or email adam@squirtle.com right now for more information.
For more than 100 years, Oklahoma Career Tech has been training skilled and dedicated individuals, giving clear career paths to over 90,000 graduates a year. These individuals are the heartbeat of the Oklahoma workforce, serving thousands of companies, fueling this state's economy.
Welcome back to the Blanchard Coaches Show. And what might be the quickest break we've ever taken, Ben came up to me and he said, "Hey, let's do this. I'm ready." And I said, "Okay, whatever you wish." It is 6:40. It is at Mazzio's. I'd like to give a quick shout-out to Mazzio's. They take care of us every single week. Big shout-out to Mazzio's for providing pizza, drinks, everything, salad bar, you name it, they have it. I'm here with Mr. Ben Hefner, senior linebacker. Ben, before I get started with these hard-hitting questions for you, how are you, sir? How has your week been? How was your senior year? How has that been going? First couple months.
Really fast, surprisingly. Yeah.
God, you almost said that with a little bit of sadness.
Yeah, it is. It's a little sad. I wish it didn't go so fast, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So obviously, Hera happened last Friday.
Mm-hmm.
You're a part of a pretty senior, junior, upperclassman heavy linebacker core. How did you guys think your group did against Hera last week?
I thought we did very good. We read our guards pretty well. That's our main thing.
Yeah.
And we flowed pretty well.
Yeah.
There was one play where we didn't do that very well.
Yeah. Just one though? Just one out of the whole game?
Well, there was one bad. It was bad.
A blown coverage or something?
Yeah, like a blown coverage. It was bad. But other than that, I feel like we did pretty good.
Yeah. How was the film session for the backers overall on Sunday? Was it pretty positive feedback?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. Didn't get yelled at that many times.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I'm happy for you. So I asked this question to Mikhail Howell about running backs. You know, some people, maybe we'll call them casual viewers, maybe people that aren't as involved with the program or just involved in football at all, probably would tell you that running backs are kind of crazy. They're taking a lot of hits. I might have to make the argument that maybe outside of that D-line, just constantly clashing with the O-line, that the linebackers are probably, right there with them when it comes to how many times you're clashing with the opponent. Is that a common thing for linebackers? What are some common misconceptions about linebackers that you have to tell people, hey, listen, I know that's what it seems to everyone, but it's really not. Is there any misconceptions about linebackers in general?
Well, we try our hardest not to get hit by the linemen.
Yeah?
That's our main thing. We try not to get blocked. Some people say we like a little bit of contact every once in a while.
Yeah.
But going against those 300-pound dudes down there, it's not very fun.
You don't want to. You want to try and avoid that at all costs.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Obviously, that past question, I said that this linebacker group is a really seasoned upperclassman group. How do you guys bond? Do you guys bond it all away from the football stuff? Or are you guys a pretty tight group away from class? And if so, are you guys doing anything outside, together as a group?
So me and Goose, the other linebacker.
Yeah.
We
who is Goose for those that might not know?
Goose is Braden Stacy.
Okay.
We call him Goose.
Like a Top Gun Goose? Where does that come from?
So when he was really little, he used to waddle around and squeak like a goose. So his grandma would call him Goose. So now it's just kind of stuck with him all the way through it.
You're getting the real important information here at the Blanchard Coaches Show, by the way. Continue.
So me and Goose, we've been friends since he was a freshman. He was my freshman.
Yeah.
So when I was a sophomore, I immediately saw him and was like, that was me last year, the sophomore year.
Right.
And I wanted him to be my guy.
Right.
Because I just saw eye to eye with him very much and everything.
Yeah.
So we've always been friends throughout everything. And the last 2 years, we've really bonded. We've gone shooting with each other. We've gone hunting with each other.
Okay.
Fishing with each other.
Yeah.
Just kind of hung out with each other.
I see. Cool. Yeah. So last segment, I talked to Caleb about, since both of you are seniors, there's obviously a lot of underclassmen that you guys probably give some advice to here and there, share practice time with. I want to ask it kind of in a different way to you. What is one thing you wish you knew coming into high school football that you know now as a senior, but you didn't know when you were a freshman? Like, what is one thing that you would tell yourself, your freshman self, if you could, talk to him right now? Like, hey, this is what high school football is. This is the one thing you need to know to be successful in it. What would that be?
Work harder.
Work harder. Explain that.
I wasn't a very hard-working football player, I would say, when I was young.
Okay.
I didn't really like the weight room. I didn't like doing sprints and stuff like. I mean, no one really likes doing sprints, but
right.
Like
well, I agree with you there.
Yeah, I didn't try hard. I didn't do anything really like that.
Yeah.
But now looking back at it, if I would have just given a little bit more effort here and there, I could be a crazy linebacker.
Yeah.
Instead of just being a mid linebacker.
When did that switch flip for you though? Where was the turning point in your 4 years of high school?
Going into my junior year.
Okay. Was it someone that told you something, or was it just an internal switch that flipped? Was it maybe an upperclassman that you had?
It was Caden Wright. Caden Wright helped me a lot with that. Okay. And my chance to play in the Piedmont game last year.
Yeah.
I didn't get to go in.
Okay.
So Rylan Oliver, our old linebacker, now goes to Dibble, got hurt on one play.
Okay.
And had to come out, and then Goose went in for me instead of me.
Right.
And in my brain, I was like, that doesn't, like, it feels bad.
Yeah.
I don't get to play. I got someone over me right now.
Right.
So it clicked in my brain. Was like, I got to work harder. I got to do these things so much better.
Yeah.
Than to get my shot. And then later on the season, I got my shot.
And you've been taking advantage of it so far this season, young man. It's a great story. So I also posed this question to Mikhail last week, just trying to get into the mind of these crazy people that, like to collide like almost every play. On the defensive side, obviously, Mikhail is a running back, so it's kind of opposite for him. What kind of music are you listening to pregame to get your mind right for all that, collision that's about to happen? Because Mikhail came up here and started talking about 80s and 90s country, and if I don't know anything about that, so I couldn't really relate to him in that regard. But I ask you, as someone that's constantly colliding with these guys on defense, what is some music that you listen to get into that state of mind in the first place?
So
don't say Alan Jackson.
No. So on my way to wherever we're going, I'll probably listen to country music, whatever country music, old country music, new country music, or anything. And then I'll walk the field, listen to country music, and then I'll come back, and then I'll turn on some hardcore or like some rap.
Okay,
like that.
So give me like an example, like who you can give me an artist or a song, because I mean Cheer came of all people. Cheer came here last week and said they were just blasting Ski Yee by Sexy Red, which was a revelation to me. I did not know that song had made it down to the high school ranks. But what kind of rap are you listening to when it comes to artists or songs? What are your favorites right now?
Right now, one song I always listen to is First Day Out.
Okay.
It's a rap song.
Is that T Grizzly?
T Grizzly, yes.
Okay. I'm not that removed from the populace yet, people. I'm not that old.
I always listen to that song, and I listen to Nightmares and Dreams.
Dreams and Nightmares.
Dreams and Nightmares. That one.
Okay, that's like a me in high school type thing. That's how old that is.
Those are my two songs I have to play every time before I go on the field.
Those are pretty two good ones if you want to get into the mind of, hey, I'm probably going to be hitting someone every other play. Okay. This has been Hefner, senior linebacker for Blanchard. We are at the coaches show here at Mazio's. Before we get Ben out of here, I got one more question for you. Obviously, Newcastle's coming up. It's a rivalry. How do you prepare for this game? Is it just another game to you? I asked this question to Caleb, and I want to ask because maybe the perception of Newcastle has changed from your freshman year to your senior year. Has the preparation for Newcastle changed at all over your years, or do you just act like it's another game?
Well, I think it's changed since my freshman year.
Yeah?
When you're a freshman, you're like, oh, it's just another team.
Yeah.
You don't really know anybody.
Right.
But when you grow up, you're like, gosh, I really don't like them.
I like that.
It's just, I don't know what it is. It's like as you get older,
it's
just like a rivalry is so much different when you're older than when you're younger.
That is true. Once you get a couple of years on your ticker, you start to get a little bit more invested in things like this. You probably know a couple of people from Newcastle that play on the team, so that kind of also feeds into it.
Yeah.
All right, Ben. Thank you so much for this interview. It was great. That is Ben Hefner, senior linebacker for the Blanchard football team. It is currently about to be 6:50 here on my digital clock. It is September 26th. We are heading into our last segment here, still under an hour. We're doing it. We're currently on schedule. We're going to take a quick, short break here, and I will be back with Coach Craig to talk about Newcastle coming up on Friday. You are listening to the Blanchard Lions Coaches Show on Blanchard Lions TV.
Support your school's booster club and get your business in front of thousands of potential customers. Talk about a win-win. Advertising packages start on this streaming station for less than $10 a game. Call 405-726-0835 or email adam@squirtle.com right now for more information.
For more than 100 years, Oklahoma Career Tech has been training skilled and dedicated individuals, giving clear career paths to over 90,000 graduates a year. These individuals are the heartbeat of the Oklahoma workforce, serving thousands of companies, fueling this state's economy. Oklahoma is powered by Career Tech.
Is it time for your school or business to purchase a new phone system? Give the experts at Versatile Networks a call. In most cases, we can provide a phone system with brand new phones for less than your current monthly bill. Call us for a free quote today. Stream with Oklahoma's #1 high school streaming service, Squirtle.tv. Find out more at squirtle.com/stream.
At Maples Nixon Diesel Horse, we've helped a lot of people, and our goal was to treat each and every person like a friend. And as a friend, we've got your back, always. We understand what you're going through. Being lawyers is what we do, but it's not all that we are. We care. We'll stand beside you throughout the entire legal process, not just as lawyers, but as your friends. We are Maples Nixon Diesel Horse, and we are here to help.
The AMG team is based in Oklahoma City and delivers your organization revenue enhancement through a combination of data.
Welcome back to the Blanchard Coaches Show. I said here and show at the same time, and that made me say sheer. That was interesting. Whether or not you care about my made-up words or not, we are in the last segment of the day here, talking with Coach Craig. This one is a little bit special to me, not because it's a rivalry, but because this is a game that me and Todd missed last year. So I actually did not get to see the product that was the Newcastle Blanchard game last year.
That would be true, didn't you? I did miss that.
You guys did skunk them. I can't remember how much you guys put
19-0.
up. 19-0. Yep. This is obviously a team that is undefeated coming into this contest. I did not get a chance to see who they played non-con-wise, but they're a good team nonetheless. What kind of thing should we be expecting from them come Friday?
Well, I think they're a good football team that does what they do.
Yeah.
And they do it well. They don't. A lot of their stuff is they're not trying to pull smoke and mirrors on you. They're just going to line up and try to hit you in the face and run over you.
I believe it was Caleb that said they're a run-heavy team.
Yeah, I mean, they want to run football.
Yeah,
I mean I think everybody in a lot of ways wants to run the football.
Establish a game.
And you feel like you need to run the football. And there's some people that they'll fling it all over the world. But bottom line is you're not going to fling it all over the world in December.
Right.
Or late November. So you gotta find a way to run the football to win some of those games when the weather goes south on you. So I think everybody wants to run the football. I think they want to run the football. They do a good job of running the football. They got they got big guys up front. They get on you, Waller on you, push you. Running back does a great job of finding little creases here or there.
Yeah.
It's not like kind of the old days. It's like you got to run right here. We're going to try to make it. He gets up in there and he might go out here or he might go there. Or he might, there's a lot of ways. A lot of places he's got to go, so you got to be very gap sound when you play him because, he might be headed to this gap, but he ends up over here and runs through this gap.
Right.
So, you can't be out of your gap. You can't overplay. You can't do that. And in the process of doing that, of making you be gap sound, then, he still can, they can still get movement on you, still push, get some movement up front.
Right.
Get a little bit of a push from guys and make 5 or 6 yards.
Yeah. Obviously, like I said earlier, we didn't get to see this game last year. I don't know if this was necessarily an upperclassman-heavy team last year. I don't know if there was just a bunch of turnover heading into this year. Is this a seasoned bunch that we're going to be seeing, or is this kind of like a newer class?
Well, I think they've got a good mixture. I think they've got a good blend. They've got, some guys back with experience. But they've also got some new pieces with some young kids. They've got a very talented young group that, we saw in junior high coming up. They're very talented. They're young, but they're talented. So, there's some mistakes that they'll make, and those are things you live with. That when you're playing youth, you kind of live with some of those things,
right?
Because they'll make a mistake or two here, but then they'll make a big play for you. So. I think that's kind of what they've been dependent on.
Yeah, it's a pretty important stretch in the schedule, just as far as who we're playing. How do you really approach your guys and saying, hey, we're going to take this week by week? I know it might be really easy to look ahead in a situation like this with how we've been playing so far. How do you get that, your guys back down to earth?
Well, I just, there's such a close proximity with us that you don't overlook this one,
right?
Because you really don't want to listen to it for 365. And
true.
So, with that being said, I mean, there's really we've always, I've talked about this before. I kind of get out of that week by week mantra that everybody's got to say, oh, it's we're just honing in on this week, but
right.
We do have things, goals and things past this week that we want to achieve, but this week is part of that.
Right.
And so we really have to be honed in on this week. We have to take care of business this week because that's going to ultimately affect our end goal.
Right.
And so this is just another step in that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think there's anything that we're looking at what's coming up. We turn right around and play Tuttle the next week. I mean, so – but that Tuttle game won't be as fun if we go in there with a loss,
right?
Than it will if we come in there both undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
So that's huge in that, right? And so, I think we understand the gravity of this week and what's at stake, and and I know Newcastle does, and I know they want to come out I know they want to keep their undefeated streak alive, and they want to come out on top just as much as we do. So a lot riding on it, and it's going to, there's going to be play here or there that could make the difference in this game.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect segue into our commandments. Craig's commandments for the game. I usually try and get 3 from you. You got 3 for me today.
Yeah, this one, I think this one, on this one, I think really handling the highs and the lows of this game, because there's so much emotion riding on it, that we, I don't want to downplay it, but I also too want our guys to understand that, you can get too high.
Yeah.
And I've coached in some games where we played some people that was that way, and I remember telling our guys that, hey, they're going to come out sky high,
mm-hmm.
and if you'll survive the first few minutes of the game, then they'll come back down to earth.
Mm-hmm.
And then if something goes wrong, they'll crash.
Yeah.
And it did, and it happened. The game completely turned around. I mean, they came out and kicked us in the teeth for about 2 or 3 minutes, and we survived that initial onslaught, and then it got down to playing basic football, and that's what this is going to be. It's going to be emotional, but man, we've got to stay in that realm, and we don't want to try to get outside of this box.
Happy medium.
Yeah, I want to stay in here. I don't want to be up here, and I don't want to ever get down here. If we can stay in here, we're going to have some dips and some, there's going to be some peaks and valleys. And let's don't let the peaks get too high, and let's don't get the valleys too low, and stay in that mid-range in there and play excited and play fun.
Yeah.
Have a good time, but, survive that.
Right.
And, that's probably number one on that deal. And then, and then the other thing is it kind of goes back to the other intangibles on that, is we have to tackle. I think, their back's kind of shifty and runny, and they run with some power. They've got a couple guys they put back there at the quarterback spot, with the Burke kid and then the other kid that comes in there, and they've got a couple big guys that can do some power running. So we've got to clog that up and then tackle on the perimeter. So, that's going to be key for us on that deal. And then I just think taking advantage of what they give us on offense.
Yeah.
I feel like they've got to give us something, and we've got to do a good job of taking that when it's given to us, and not forcing things, not trying to make things happen, staying within the realm of what we do, and when the opportunity presents itself, taking advantage of it.
All right, that was your Craig's commandments to the game, handling those highs and lows. I think tackling has been a big pressing issue these past couple weeks that you've kind of been saying on these segments, and playing opportunistic football. When those opportunities are given to you, taking advantage of those. Because you don't know if you're going to be getting them.
And it could be. It was kind of a grind last year, and it could be that again. It could be a high scoring fest. I told. I was talking to Mark Rogers one time about our Piedmont game, and I told him, I said, that might be a 35-31 game, and it turns out 21-7.
Right.
So I guess I pretend I know what I'm talking about sometimes, but this one it could very well be a defensive battle.
Yeah.
But then again, I think both teams are quite capable of scoring, so. We could be putting some points on the board, and it could be a back-and-forth contest.
It's going to be a big one this Friday. It's Blanchard versus Newcastle, big rivalry at 7. That will be at Newcastle. Be sure to get there early. I'm sure it's going to be packed to the nines way long before the ball's even kicked off. I plan on getting there about an hour and 30 minutes early. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Is there anything I missed?
It's going to be a good night. Just a good night of football, good night of high school football, and a lot of excitement in the air, and we'll see who comes out on top.
Blanchard looking to go 2-0 in district play. They will travel to Newcastle this week on Friday. Kickoff at 7 p.m. It is currently 7:03 here at Mazzio's. We are wrapping up our last segment. Just talked to Coach Craig about some commandments to the game, some keys for Blanchard to get the win. Big shout out to Mazzio's, obviously, for hosting us every single week. We simply could not do it without them. And I forgot to mention this last week, but I don't know if anyone has noticed these past couple weeks. We actually moved the set from the window to the wall. I just made a reference there that I don't know if anyone's going to get.
I started good. We started throwing
and that's how you know the show is off the rails and we probably need to get out of here. Okay, My name is Drake Vitito. That is Coach Craig. Big shout out to Ashley Robertson, as always, for the back end stuff. We can't do this without her either. And Mazzio's for hosting us at 7:03. You have been listening to the Blanchard Coaches Show. Tune in next week, next Tuesday, starting at 6. We'll wrap up Newcastle and look ahead for this football schedule. But for tonight, 7:03 p.m., Mazzio's, Drake Vitito, Coach Craig, thank you for watching on Blanchard Lions TV.